Hey guys, welcome back to episode 3 of How to Code a Spigot plugin for 1.15. It is me, Coded Red, and in this episode we'll be going over more commands. Similar to the first episode where I went over the hello command, we'll be doing something like this, where we type in /launch, and it shoots us through the sky. Similarly, we can type in /launch like 10, and it'll shoot us in a faster speed, and you can play around with this /launch 15 and changes the multiplier of our velocity. But yeah, pretty simple command. In this episode, we'll be going over command executor and more things you can do with the on command method. So without further ado, let's get right into it. To start off, let's hop right into the package explorer. Right click, go to new, Java project. The project name is going to be launch. And make sure you're using the correct Java version and everything that we did in the first episode. Head over to the next button. Sorry, you can't see it right now. But head over to the next button. And we're going to go to the libraries tab. And just like the first episode, we're going to add our Spigot jar. So after you hit the libraries tab, go to add external jars. Locate your Spigot download. And let's add it in. And I don't know if I said this in the earlier episodes, but this series is totally backwards compatible. If you're coding a plugin for 1.8, it'll work. Of course, there's some things in 1.9 that 1.8 doesn't have. Example, like the boss bar API in Spigot will not work in 1.8. It will work in 1.9 and above. There's just some things that you will have to check on. But for the most part, Spigot is backwards compatible. Also, if you're watching this in the future using Spigot version 1.18, this series should work for you. But once you have this jar in there, let's go ahead and press finish. Go back to your Package Explorer. Let's open it up. Go to SRC. Right click on the SRC. Go to new. Package. Every single class file that you make will be under a package. And the package name, if you have a website, it's going to be com.yourwebsite.name, website.the name of the project will be launch. But I don't have a website, and I don't think most people don't. So if you don't have a website, you can do me.yourname. My name's Coded Red, and then .the name of the project. Right click on the package we just created, go to new, class, and we create our main class. Press enter. And we'll create the famous 3 things you always put in a main class. If you remember from the first episode, you put these 3 things in every single main class you create for every plugin, and you only put in this class and no other classes. So the first thing is extends Java plugin. Java plugin will basically let us be allowed to use the Spigot API, things like players and bucket and server stuff. We can use that because of this Java plugin. Next, we create 2 methods. And that's going to be the public void on enable. And let's override this real quick. And the public void on disable. We're going to use the on enable in this episode today, in a little bit. But basically, when the server is starting up, when your plugin is loading, whatever's in these curly braces will run. And then when the server is shutting down, your plugin is being disabled. Whatever's in these curly braces will run. Let's go ahead and start the main coding of this episode. And these are the 3 things that I said that you got to put into every main class. The Java plugin, and then these 2 methods right here. So let's get into coding the actual launch command. And I'm going to zoom in real quick. And we're going to create the on command method. If you remember from the first episode, it's going to look like a public boolean on command. And you're going to pass in a few things. You're going to pass in the command sender. And we're going to name the sender. And you're also going to pass in a command, name command, a string, name label, and an array of strings, name args. And these are all just names. You can name this whatever you want. You can name the command C. You can name this LBL. It's all up to you. As long as you have these parameters in here, you're fine. You can go ahead and import now. If you hover over it, press import, and then make sure you are importing the right thing for command. The command import is import command org.bucket.command. You get a little red underline. That's because we need to return something. So we're going to return false, just so we get rid of that error. Now inside the on command, let's create the launch. So if the label dot equals ignore case launch, go ahead and do this. So the label is just what the players, like the command that they're sending. So they're sending / pizza, the label right here with pizza, whatever your command is. Now that we know that the command is launch, we can go ahead and check if the sender is a player. So a sender is much different than a player. You're not going to be able to send the console flying through the sky, so you want to make sure that whoever sent this command is a player and not a console. And to do this, you type in sender instance of a player. And we want to check to see if it is not a player. So this exclamation point right here, it does the opposite. It's like a not. So if the sender instance of player, so if the sender is not a player, we just want to kick them out. We're going to say return true, and we'll send the console a message saying, I don't know, console goes flying, something like that. Now that we know that the sender is a player, we can go ahead and create the player. To create the player, you're going to do player equals the cast of a player to the sender. Just like a command sender, a command, or a string, this is a data type, and you can name this whatever you want. You can name it P if you want. I usually name it player. And now we want to check the arguments. So unlike the first, I'm pretty sure in the first episode we didn't go over arguments. So we're going to have multiple arguments in this command. We're going to have the basic one of /launch, but we're also going to have /launch, can't spell, /launch number. And this number value will be our velocity multiplier. So how do we differ the two commands? To do this, you're going to want to do if the arg's length equals 0. Now I say 0 because I want to use this command first. You just want to start off with the lowest arguments. So if you have multiple arguments, if you have launch, number, player, whatever, you want to start off with the lowest argument first and then make your way up. That's how I like to do it. So we're going to start off with this one here. So if the args.length equals 0, which means there is no argument after launch, that means they're running the basic /launch. And we can go ahead and send them flying. I'm going to zoom down a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is send them a message. And we'll say check colored. We'll do light purple. And I'll make this message bold, so I'm going to do that. Check color dot bold. And I'm going to say zoom. Next, we want to set the velocity. We actually want to send them flying through the sky. And to do this, I'm going to do player.setVelocity. And we're going to do player.getLocation. So we're going to get their current location. But most importantly, we want to get the direction. We want to get what they're looking at. We don't want to send them to the left, to the right, backwards. We want to send them forward. We're going to send them in the direction that they are looking at. So we'll get the player.getLocation, and then we'll get the direction. But we can't just do this. We actually want to, make them fly. We're not going to send them the same way. So we're going to do .multiply. We're going to multiply their direction by 2. And we're also going to set the y to 2. This will send them, like I showed you in the beginning, straight forward, a little bit up, and a little bit further away. And then we can go ahead and type in return true, and then they're done. Now we want to do the other argument. And to do this, I'm just going to say else. So if the args.length is 0, otherwise do else. Actually, you don't even need this else here. Because we are returning true inside this if statement, really, whatever, if it's not 0, then it's going to go over here. So you don't need an else in this instance. So we're just going to do the same thing that's in here. I'm going to copy this. And we're going to, instead of multiply by 2, we want to do the argument that they're sending. So under here will be the /launch number. And we want to get this number. This number we want to put in the multiply. And to do this, you're going to do integer dot praise int args of 0. Now it is args of 0 and not 1 because this is not 1, this is 0. Arguments are array based, which means they start at 0 and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. However, when length is not array based, you're going to need to know the difference between those two. It takes a little bit of time. You're most likely going to mess up. I mess up a lot with that even now. But args of 0 means the first. 0 will be the first argument, which would be our number. So what we're doing here, integer.praisInt, we're just changing the string argument right here, our string argument, into an integer, so they can go flying through the sky. And we are, I'm pretty sure, done now. Oh wait, let's yeah, we're done. We can go ahead and just do a little more finishing things, and that is click on your SRC. Go over here. Click on your SRC. Go to New, File. I'm going to do plugin.yml. And we're not done coding. We're done for this section. We're going to go a little more in depth soon after I test out what we have. And we're going to type in main me.codedred.launch.main. Now, plugin.yml is the #1 error that I get all the time in my Discord. If you saw what I did, make sure you're creating the plugin.yml inside your SRC. If you want to close your package to know that it's outside, that's good. So you want to create the plugin.yml inside your SRC, not inside the package, inside the SRC. And then another error I get is this main right here. This main is referring to your main class, whatever class you have this Java plugin in. Whatever class you're extending as a Java plugin, that's the class you want to refer. So you want to type in the package name dotted with the main. Now this main, of course, is just a name of the class. If my class was named, I don't know, Taco, and Taco had the extends Java, then I'll put Taco here. The name is whatever you want it to be. You can name this launch. I can name this flying. Really, name's kind of custom. I'm just going to name it launch. The version is up to you. It's a string, so you can put R1, 0.01, you can put 0.0.0.0.01. Doesn't really matter. It's up to you. I usually put 1.0. And then the author will just be yourself. Code red. And then for commands, another error that I get a lot, or other people get a lot, is the spacing on commands. And it's 2 spaces. 2 spaces away. And you're going to type in the command, and our command is launch. And we're actually do one more thing. Go down 1 more space, and then do 2 more spaces again, and type in aliases. And our alias is going to be LCH. It's like a little shortcut to launch. And to make this work, we're going to hop back into our main class. And right here, we're going to type in OR, which is, this is the symbol for OR in Java, if you didn't know. And then the symbol for AND in Java is the 2 AND symbols. So we're typing OR, label, dot equals, ignore case, LCH. So if they send in the launch command, or if they send in the LCH command, go do this. All right. Now that we're done, we can right click on launch, go to export, make sure I'm running the jar file, and then go ahead. I don't know why that's hell. Go ahead and save it to your server. Launch, finish. All right, I'm gonna start my server, and then I'll be right back. All right, now inside the server, you can go ahead and test out the command. So I'm going to type /launch, and we're going to fly through the sky. /launch. And if you didn't notice, I did turn on fly, because if you launch, I would turn on fly and I launch at the sky, I am going to take fall damage. And there is a way to fix this, the fall damage part, but we're going to go over that when we hit listeners. And I'm pretty sure it's episode 5, if I'm not wrong, when we're going to talk about listeners. And I'll show you guys. We're going to go back over this kind of plugin, and we'll go over how not to take damage. But if we type LCH, our alias, you'll see we'll fly through the sky too. If we type launch and then 10, you'll see we'll have a different multiplier. We flew, instead of 2 multiply, we flew 10. I'm lagging a little bit. But what happens if we type in launch high? You'll see we'll get an error. And I can show you my console. Show you guys the error message. Teach you guys real quick how to read an error message. Now, up here on top, you'll see what plugin you got the error message in and what command it was. So this is the command. We got the error message running this command, the launch command, in the plugin launch, and then the version. So if you get people saying, hey, I got an error in your plugin, first thing you want to check to see if they have the latest version of your plugin. So 1.0 is the latest version of launch. You're going to see a bunch of junk right here. This junk really does not mean anything. You don't just kind of skip over this. The only important note you want to take note of this is the version that their server is running. You can see my server is running 1.15. Under all this junk, you're going to see what is really important, and that is caused by. And you'll see caused by, and you'll see this error number format exception for the input high. And then even more importantly, under this caused by, you'll see where it's being caused by. So you're going to see a little bit of junk right here. That's not to worry. Pretty much just look for your package name right here, me.coder@launch. This is where the error is coming from. The first error is coming from. And if you see main.java 39, 39 is the line. This is the line number in the class main of where the error is coming from. So if we open up our code real quick and we go to line 39, so the error is being caused here. And it's because we're passing in a string of high for arg0 and it's trying to turn high into an integer. And that you cannot do. And I purposely coded like this to show you guys the error message and how to read it and everything. So we're going to fix this. So outside of the onCommand method, outside of it, we're going to create another method. And this method is going to be called isNum. So we're creating a public Boolean, call it isNum, and it's going to have a parameter of a string. And you call the string num, call it whatever you want. We're going to type in try. We're doing try catch here. And we're going to try to do what we did above, the integer praise int num. We're going to try to do what we just did up here. We're going to try to do this. And if there is an error, we want to catch that error. So we're catch exception E. I could type in the this exception right here, the number format exception. That's another possible value right here. I usually just type exception because that goes through all of them, mostly all of them. So if it catches an exception, we're return false, and then we could say if it doesn't catch an exception, we can return true. What's the problem here? Nope. All right, get rid of that. Put that there. This goes there. That goes there. Get rid of this. Okay, sorry. There we go. Okay. Too many curly braces. So we're going to try. Let me tab this back a little bit. So we're going to try to what we do up here. We're going to try to praise int. We're going to try to turn this string into an int. If you get an error while doing it, we're going to return false. And we say it's not a num. And if you get it true, means it is num. So we're going to copy what we did right here. Copy that. We're typing if is num args of 0. And then we say else. Actually, you don't need to say else. I will do it anyways. Else, and we're going to say player dot send message. And I'll make it chat color dot red. And I'll say usage is launch number value. All right. So first we want to check if this argument is a number, and that's what we do down here. So we're checking if it's a number, and if it is a number, we can go ahead and then use it to praise. I'm gonna export this, overwrite, and hop back into my server. Gonna reload it, and I'm gonna try to do the exact thing we did. So let's launch high, and you'll see usage launch number. So now we're not getting an ugly error message in the console. We're just gonna block their trying to kill us in that plugin. You want to assume that every single person on your server is trying to break a plugin. They're trying to exploit a plugin and get free stuff. Everyone's trying to duplicate something. That's what you want to assume. So we want to check for those kind of things. You want to check to make sure they can't type launch and a bunch of random stuff. Even if they type launch 10, blah, 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 it's going to still launch them 10 and there's no error. We're only dealing with one argument. So that's pretty much it. Real quick, if y'all want to stick around, I know this episode's running a little long. I try to keep the episodes to around 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But real quick, I'm going to show you guys how to do command executors. And what a command executor is, it's another class. So instead of, if you have multiple, say if you have multiple commands, you can put them all in different classes, and so it doesn't look so cluttered in your main class. And to do this, we're going to right click on our package, go to new class, and I'm going to name this fly. Inside the fly class, you're going to type in implements command executor. I'm going to press Control Shift O to automatically import that. And you're going to see this little red underline. This little red underline right under fly. If you hover above it, you'll notice, well, I'll tell you what's wrong, but you can notice this thing says add unimplemented methods. Click on that, and you'll see it added the on-command method for you. All you really have to do is change the names to what you like. And I like it to be like this. You can get rid of this add override. This is the same thing I said with the on-enable, on-disable. Just checks the name. Get rid of that comment. And we can actually just go right into our main class and copy the entire on command. Make sure you're copying this is num2. Copy all what we did here. So your main class just looks like this. And you can get rid of the imports, even though that's the wrong import. Okay. Ooh. So make sure your main class looks like this, like how we started off. Go back into your fly, and we can paste our on command here. And if you noticed, I imported the wrong check color. So let's make sure we're importing the right one, and that is the bucket check color. All right. Finally, go into your main class. On the on enable, type this dot get server. Oh wait, no, my bad. This dot get command. The command is launch dot set executor to new fly, and yeah, there we go. So what this does is when the server starts up, when your plugin is being enabled, we're basically just saying, hey, this command launch right here is actually over in this class called fly. So if someone runs the command launch, look in this class fly. If I go ahead and export all this to the server, reload the server, and we test it out again. launch. You'll see it works perfectly fine. And then launch 10, perfectly fine. Awesome. This video is running pretty long, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I was going to go over potion effects, but I'll do that in another episode. Not to worry. We will go over everything in the Spigot API. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.